is everyone? Well, hi, it's CALC here, and I've been just thinking what to do this evening. I thought it's been ages since I've done a live stream, so I thought, how can I spend my evening? Why not do a live stream? And yeah, I've decided to basically just pull out this strange looking box, the most fantastic Whimsical Raps Atrium. This is a really, really, really interesting little device, and it is little as well. If I just put my mouse here next to it, you see it's not a big box, you know. When I got it, I was really quite surprised at how small it is, but it actually is very nice and portable, which is great. And it's been around for a little while. It came, well, I say a little while, about 6 months or so. It got announced, I think, towards the end of last year. And I mean, like pretty much everything from Whimsical Raps, I was like, oh, that's an insta-buy immediately. And so I jumped on it the moment that you could buy it. And yeah, I had a little incident with with the website not being able to take orders at that time, as soon as it came live, and then yeah, accidentally bought two. Yeah, when I was trying to make the order, which could have been an expensive mistake, but thankfully the guys at Whimsical Raps were very, very understanding and let me cancel one of the two that I accidentally ordered. So yeah, I could say, I guess I'm an early adopter of this thing, but as I say, Whimsical Raps, all of their gear is just incredible, and Atrium is yeah, it's pretty much, yeah, I think it's become kind of one of my favourite things over the 6 months that I've had it, and it's been updated as well quite a bit. Yeah, over that time. In fact, there was an update for the Atrium, I think last week, very recently anyway, and it's brought some really, really interesting new things to the table with it. But I thought I'd probably just kind of start off and try and explain what the thing is. I should probably say, actually, yeah, I work, my day job is as a product specialist for the Focusrite group. So that means that my day job is basically doing kind of product demonstration stuff, but for the likes of Novation, Sequential, Oberheim, Focusrite, Adam Audio, all those kinds of products. Tonight, I'm totally solo. I'm totally, you know, off the clock. I'm doing this on a Tuesday night in my spare time, and I just, yeah, as I said at the beginning, I just kind of, I'm so enamoured and in love with this Atrium that I figured, yeah, I'd do a little live stream on it. And I've done quite a lot of live streams, certainly from a work perspective, from Novation, did a heck of a lot of live streams over certainly over the COVID period, and more recently as well, a couple for Sequential as well, which is always a lot of fun. But occasionally, I just kind of pull out one for myself, just have a bit of fun with it. So that's really kind of what I'm doing with the Atrium here. So I guess, I mean, I've kind of put it down as a deep dive. I mean, it's pretty mad to try and do a deep dive on this thing, but maybe I can try to explain what it is. Now, there's a lot of rather interesting parlance used with Whimsical Raps. I think that the name of the company says it all, Whimsical Raps. You know, they like to rap on their language for sure, in a whimsical way. And yeah, so I might not get all of the parlance exactly right. But hopefully I'll kind of give a bit of an understanding of kind of, you know, what this device is. And yeah, and just try and kind of demystify it a little bit. And then, to be honest with you, I just wanted to have a bit of a jam tonight. So I thought, well, why not, yeah, why not stick the live stream on, do a little bit of a jam. So here I am. I'm not sure if I've got anybody watching, to be perfectly honest. Apart from one Captain Bogart Destructo, who I happen to know rather well. I would class as one of my best friends, so he's there. So thank you very much for popping up, Mr. Bogarto Destructo. Angry Frank approves. So anyway, let's switch over to this camera. Got a couple of different camera angles. This one we'll stick with, and I'll just start from scratch with what this thing is, I guess. Now, there's a couple of videos online for it already, but not too many. And I guess there's not too many atriums out there in the world. I'm not sure. I think there should be a lot of atriums out there in the world. I certainly think there should be as many. Well, I think everyone should have one, to be perfectly honest. But when you see it, you think, well, okay, that's an interesting looking box for a start. I mean, it's a strange shape. And I kind of figured that it's all about the number 5, really, the atrium. I mean, if we just look, we've got one kind of plane here, 2, 3, 4, 5. I spotted that and I said, okay, that's interesting because this has got 5 voices inside it. They're 5 analog voices, and it's a really interesting approach to kind of how you play with it, because you know, we don't have a keyboard, of course. You can connect a keyboard. We've got a USB host port on the back. If you want to just plug a keyboard in, you can do that, and you can just play it in a kind of a MIDI keyboard kind of fashion. But this section here is essentially our pitch control, and this section here is kind of like a strum plate that we've got here as well. So this is kind of your trigger. Let's just get things kind of nice and sharp here. This is your trigger, and this is your pitch down this side here. So this is called the sustain control, and we can use this touch plate to play either all 5 voices by just stroking it with your finger like this. You can kind of lean in there to kind of get a bit of kind of expression, a bit more kind of sort of articulation to the sound. Or you can use this slider as well. So this slider also is effectively the same as kind of hitting the touch plate here, like so. Now you'll notice that we've got 5 lights here as well, and if I open up the sustain just normally, then that's going to open up all of the 5 voices, but at the minute we're just listening to a single pitch. This is set to a scale. We'll look at scale shortly, I think, but this is just set to a scale, and I can use this to move up and down. I've got octaves, and I've got 2 octaves up, 2 octaves down. I've also got this, the glide. I love the glide. And we've got 3 settings for glide. So this is set to the low glide setting, slightly more glidey. And then if we go to the 3rd setting, so we've got that glide there, which is nice. But as I said before, we've got 5 voices. So how do we kind of start to play around with additional voices? At the minute, we're just kind of hearing, well, probably actually all 5 voices just playing a single note. Well, we've got a chord button here. If I press this and hold it, you can open up the chord, and this voicing around here is really magical. So I can kind of just move up and down. You can hear the notes aren't just sort of offsetting all together. You've got a nice little bit of voicing going on with that. So we've got these kind of all 5 notes opened up now, and if I press and hold chord at any time, I can just basically adjust the voicing there of these chords. Or take it back to a single note. So this kind of interaction between sort of triggering here, using the sustain here as well, and the pitch control here, you can basically, you've got quite an interesting approach to sort of making music straight away. So that's just kind of the most basic sort of side to it. Now, in terms of the notes, we've got different scales here as well. So these are different scales. And initially, out of the box, if you like, you get 4 different scales to choose from. We can extend that out. I'll show you shortly how we can do that. So you can do this kind of, and again use the chord to change the spacing of the notes out. Okay. Now there are other interesting things. So if I like this chord, I can say, okay, well I want to hold this chord. I want to create what's called a cluster. So I press chord and press one of these 5 buttons. These do quite a few different things, but we'll explore clusters first of all. So I'm going to press chord and then just tap this button here. Now I've loaded a chord, this chord, into this step. Into this button, which is labelled step, but that's for a different reason. Now if I change the chord again, let's move it to, okay, that. Now if I like that one, I can press chord and put it there. And now using chord and these buttons, I can just automatically or easily switch through those, maybe get a different chord. Okay, so now I've got 3 chords in there. So you can easily, kind of create these little chord banks. I like to think these clusters are a bit like chord banks. But these buttons, let's move up to these now, because these do interesting things. This is our clock up here. We've got a tempo control here. You can see the little readout here on the LEDs. And we've got the clock tap. That's all tied into it, but we'll come back to that one shortly. But let's say I want to maybe make a little bit of a melody or something, kind of just have a bit of a play around, and and then just kind of make a little bit of a melodic kind of sequence. So if I tap this button, so it's running across now. So what I've done is I've recorded all of that gesture stuff into this gesture switch. Now that's all still live. I can offset this, so I can just move that down here, and that will, if you like, sort of transpose it. But I've also got these octave switches as well. Maybe put the glide on there. And we've got 5 of these here. And these can be used for whatever you want. Anything on the top panel is fair game, really, in terms of knobs and sliders. So maybe for this gesture control here, I'll record a little bit of Spectre. Spectre is basically a series of bucket brigade delays, which you can set to sort of go into a feedback path through 3 bandpass filters here. This is the filter section here. This isn't actually doing anything at the moment, but let's just turn up the delay. Now, I shall now record the delay time. Maybe the spectre as well. So I'm doing 2 controls here. This is totally asynchronous. It is tied to the clock, but at this moment in time, it's not relying on kind of a quantized, fixed kind of time. So you can kind of get kind of nice sort of interactions between different length kind of gestures being recorded. And I've got another 3 here, so let's see what else can I do. Okay, well we've got our synth controls here, so let's play around with this. So I'm going to now just make it into a square. Back into a sine. Make it into a saw. And now, so we've got this kind of nice washing kind of oscillator change. If I wanted to stop that from happening, I could just tap it and it won't play it. And it's the same with this as well. Let's take off the control for the delays. Yeah. So, maybe I want to stop the sequence there. But maybe I want to have the delay and the sound timbre change as well. Anyway. There we go. Now, okay, that was kind of a nice little start, but I'm going to go to load and clear. Load and clear takes you back to the default setting. So we're back on scale 1. We've just got a single note. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to create a scale. And this is a really good place to start because you've got these 4 scales available. If you wanted more, however, if you if you hold Alt, now you see the scale switch turns into a little cross, and I can then tap that, and now I can expand beyond 4, and I think I've got 11 of them. Here we go. So I've gone up to B. I think we're in hexadecimal, I think. So, and what that means now is, now if you look at this little light, it might be not come through too much on the lighting in the room, but now I've got 11 scales to play with. That's nice. But I'm going to go back to the clear and to the original, and what I'm going to do is just create my own scale in scale position 1. So I'm going to tap the Alt button here, this one here, and now there's my scale. And at this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's a 7-note scale. And here are the notes laid out for me. I don't know if you can see this, but horizontally you've kind of got a little description of a chromatic keyboard, like a piano keyboard. This row is the black notes, this row is the white notes. And now what I can do is I can basically adjust the notes. So, say this first note, I'm going to take that down. So I'm going to just tap the octave buttons. These can just act like little switches. And I can just basically create my own scale here. Okay. Now, if I wanted to hear that as, sorry, just turn it down. If I wanted to hear that as like sort of a sequence, I can just tap this button. So we've got that running there, that's nice. Now perhaps that top note isn't quite what I want. I can just step through to it. Okay, and now let's just take that down to, there we go. There we go, that's more like it. If I want to add more notes to the scale, I can press this second button in, and then this one will add a note to the scale, and this one will take the note off. So I'll add a couple more notes in, and now I can tap through to that. There we go to the last note. I'm going to go right down for that. There we go. So I've got a scale there that I've created, and stop it from just sequencing through it. Press the Alt button. This takes us back into the main kind of area here now. So you see the scale doesn't have to actually just be sort of chronological, if that's the right word. You can just kind of move through the different scales here, the different notes that you've just set up in the scale. But now, of course, I've got my own kind of bespoke chord. So there we go. Right, that'll do for now on the kind of the note side. Let's move across the instrument. So these 3 controls, now it's got some incredibly powerful synthesis in here, but I've never known a synth that basically gives you such a range of sounds with just simply 3 controls. It's pretty insane, really. Now, excuse me, as I said earlier, I'm off the clock, so I'm going to have a quick sip of beer before I go into this, so yeah. Sorry if you've got misophonia, and that gulp was horrible to listen to, but hey ho. Right, so what have we got here? So, we've got 3 controls: energy, timbre, and tone. Now, energy, basically, this is a kind of a crossfade between a square wave and then through to a sine in the middle, and then down to a sawtooth. So we've got even harmonics, and then down to all harmonics, I think. I should know that, shouldn't I? But it's Tuesday night, I've just had a sip of beer. So basically, yeah, so you've got a choice essentially of the different kind of sources there, which is great. The timbre here, now this often basically is sort of classed as a second oscillator control, I think. So if I bring this up, well, not control, but a second oscillator behavior. So if I bring this up, in this particular synth engine, this brings up a sub-oscillator. Now, if I bring that down, it's just basically a volume for a sub-oscillator. Now, if I push then the tone, you can hear it moves through a noise phase and then up through to an octave above, noise phase, 2 octaves. Sorry, an octave below, not above, 2 octaves below, noise in the middle. So if you've got these controls here, again, if we just set a gesture, really. And so you can now kind of capture that. Okay, pretty nice. And then again, I can play. If I switch on this gesture, all those gestures I made before will be captured, but now will be applied to the FM synth. So, let's go back. And now we're going to go to the form. Now this is a really interesting one. So this, I believe, is based on the Whimsical Raps Mangrove oscillator, which is a 4-man oscillator. And this is basically, from what I can sort of hear, and again, you know, read the manual for a full visual description. This is giving you a whole lot of kind of subharmonics. Range of sound there. Now let's just use the filter. So here's the filter. As I said, it's 3 bandpass filters. And the minute they're kind of fixed together, actually if I press clear in that, that's just going to bring it into one kind of centralized filter. I think they're panned left and right as well. So you can kind of hear that just working as that. But if I press with 2 fingers, like a 2-finger gesture, you can pull those bands right out. Now maybe I want to modulate this a little bit. So I'm going to go to map. This button is really important, map. I'm going to press this, which is the LFO. I'll come to that in a bit. And I'm going to just apply a bit of that LFO now to the sound. Just come out of map. You can see that having an effect there. Maybe I'll just pull them back down a bit so it's not quite as... There we go. Now let's just speed the LFO. You get some pretty interesting places. Again, I can record that. bit of the bucket brigade delay. Get pretty crazy now. So yeah, so there's a lot of soundscape stuff going on with that. Now again with oh gosh, let's see, is that microphone? Is that picking up? Hopefully it is. Hopefully you can hear me and the music's not too loud. Hopefully anyway. Just turn it back a bit. Maybe that's been half an hour of just noise and no description. I'm sorry if that's the case. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so we saw before how we've got the different scale amounts we can have. You start off with 4 here. Now here we've got different kind of configurations or settings of the filters. So you can just tap through those. I'm not sure, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 available there. But we've got more. We can go Alt, press this button, and then just tap through and get actual access to our 11. Now they sound quite nice. So let's say, okay, well I want to tap through those automatically. So I'm going to map the clock to tap through the lens. Let's just give it a bit of delay. So anything is basically mappable. Even the shapes, the synth shapes are mappable. So let's say, okay, I want to use the LFO to go through the different voices, the different synth engines. So in the middle here, we've got that kind of this feedback delay. So the delay lines feeding back into themselves. Gets a bit cleaner up at the top here. I can just maybe make a gesture record and go into the dirty section. And then after a while, come back out to the clean section. So all of this is just kind of basically automated. Now you can see anything can control anything basically. So yeah, which is kind of nice. Now let's think about these 2 pots. So I'm going to turn up the ramp. This is like an attack stage. And let's go to the length. And you have that sort of an attack phase going in. Turn that right up. Let's turn it off. Straight on. And the length, let's put it on full length here. Full ramp, full length. It'll take a little while to come in. So if I let go now, we get a nice kind of long length of decay, if you like. So these are quite interesting as well here. Now, obviously I can kind of trigger here. I can turn this on. But if I want to get a bit of movement, perhaps a bit more articulation with the kind of the notes here, let's tap on the loop. I'll bring the volume up. Let's just take off the delay. Okay, so if I take the ramp down, you can hear them all sort of tapping here now. If I had to bring the length up. Now we've got 5 voices here, but if we look here, we've got this stretch control here. If I just sort of pull down this side, you see these 2 voices have now got a longer tail to them, a longer length. And if I push that up, this side here, I've got but shorter. So these two are applied to this side, these two on this side. And again, if I use the length control here, it basically offsets those sort of settings, which is quite nice. But of course, we've got an LFO here, and we might want to automate that. So if I go to the LFO, and we'll basically automate that stretch side there, and then this side here. So now we've got this kind of really interesting articulation stuff going on, which is nice. Let's speed up the LFO. See that? Yeah, see that having an effect there on this section here. Now, I should also mention, these is kind of like a low-pass gate. At the minute, it's just set to sort of gate, so it's just basically VCA on and off, amplifier on and off. As I switch to filter, now we get kind of a nice filtery application, low-pass gate kind of filter sort of feeling to the articulations. If I go to Reso, it becomes a resonant filter. We get a little bit more spike at the cutoff point. We've also got a low cut here, so you can, if it's just a better balance in the mix, this is really useful. You can just sort of tap that in. But of course, these are all accessible from anything. So I could go to the clock here, tap through that. We've got a control here, contour, which is basically referring to this middle note here. This is like a single envelope shape, and I can apply that to whatever I want as well. So let's go and apply the contour to the pitch. Yeah, pretty gnarly with that as well. Now, if you really like this, you can press save, load, and then save it to one of these slots here. I'm not going to do it this one, but you can basically store 5 little patches here. So let's load in a patch that I created before. Now, actually, I made a video using this one, yeah, I think this is. I really, really like this. Let's see if I can get this. Oh, now let's reload that in. Bring the fader up. So now we've got this kind of nice looping kind of set of envelopes triggering the sound here, nice and slow. And I've got some clusters on here. I'm going to just add a touch of reverb for this. Yeah, I made this track while I was on holiday in France, and yeah, recorded it. It's brilliant. I made a video of it. The video's not as good as the original kind of audio recording I did, but it's really quite nice. Anyway, what's really interesting here, so let's go back to the, so you see the filter lens. This was the thing that gives us different filter configurations here. Well, on this button here, which is kind of a slew button normally for the filter, so it takes a bit of time for them to slew to different positions. It's also got an orange legend above it that says freaks, frequencies. And with this one is, if I look at the mapping here, frequency is mapped to the pitch control here. So if I now change the filter configuration, this is basically now using these three filter positions to revoice the chords. So this is just a really nice way of getting, I mean, and this of course is all locked into a scale, so it's just got this really kind of nice way of being able to, again, use the filters here and their kind of positions to change the pitch. Now, if I remember correctly, if I bring the fader down, yeah, you see it's triggering the notes, but we're not getting them all. So let's just... So, I mean, what I thought I'd got set up, maybe I haven't on this, but basically next to the scale button, it says change. Now, every time the notes change, that would send out a message. And so what I did with this is I mapped the change to the sustain control here. So when I change the notes, it's triggering the notes. And I think maybe if I turn off the loop, oh, hang on. Oh, that's it, sorry. Maybe the ramp, maybe I just need to pick the ramp up, that's it. So what I'd done was that I needed to pick that up from a pop pickup point of view, bring that down, and now so this is giving you another nice way of being able to play the sounds. Now there's another thing that I've got here as well. So we've got these things called modulation limits, and basically if you get to a control end, upper or lower on one of the faders, you can map that fader action to trigger something else. So if we look here, this is now mapped to the lens, which means that basically now when I pull that right down, it's going to change this position. Now if you remember, lens is changing the frequency of the filters. The frequency of the filters is affecting a change in the notes, and the change control is coming back to the sustain. So it's got this kind of nice little feedback thing going on, where basically I pull sustain all the way to the bottom, and it triggers the sustain. So yeah. So that's quite nice. Yeah. Now, I've talked for 45 minutes and I've only had one slurp of beer, so I'm going to have another slurp of beer now. Once again, sorry for misophonia, folks, out there. Right, I've kind of explained a bit about it. I mean, there's just so much more. I thought this was going to be a real deep dive and I'll explain it all, but yeah, the chances of that are quite slim. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just sort of make a little bit of a tracker thing. I'll just sort of finish up in a quarter of an hour or so. So I'll just kind of go through some things, hopefully explain what I'm kind of doing as I do it, and then yeah, see if I can just make something interesting happen with it. So I'll just take the reverb off, and we'll go to the initial kind of setup. By the way, I do love that noise. The noise that you get with this is, yeah, it's just such a nice sound. Anyway, make a scale again. And sometimes it's helpful if you just kind of look to the side and you can kind of see the notes. So there's an F. There's a B flat. D. Okay, so I've got, let's see, what have I got? Maybe, yeah, there we go. So it's kind of got sort of two different chords built up in that scale now. That'll do for now. Okay, that's nice. Now, I just want to talk a little bit now about this new sort of stuff that's come through a couple of weeks ago. And that is that basically the tempo, by the way, the tempo can be mapped wherever you want. So I can set the LFO to control the tempo, which can be pretty crazy. But one of the new things that came up were these three positions where you could use the clock to basically sync things. So I can now sync the LFO, I can sync the length of the sustain, which is incredible, and I can also sync the delay time as well now. So now if I turn on the loop, okay, oh, is that on yet? If you look at the clock here, put that, you see there it is. That's now in time. And as I increase the tempo, so basically we've got things in sync now, which is lovely. In the same way, because we've got the stretch on here, the stretches are kind of still multiples and divisions of the length clock here. So we can now get a little bit more kind of structured kind of musical kind of, or metric meter, a bit more of a kind of a standard kind of metering going on there. We've also got an LFO that is now in sync as well. So what I'll do is I'll take that down, I'll map the LFO to the sustain. And again, this is basically in time. And we'll map also the filter to the LFO to the and also, because the time is now in sync, let's just get a bit of a nice bit of feedback. So now this is kind of giving us kind of harmonic values because the tempo, the sync, the time is in sync. So we're getting some nice kind of harmonic kind of offerings. So maybe I would just, record this movement. Now also, we can now basically kind of quantize these gestures. We've got quite a few different kind of controls for these gestures. Length and beat mean that you can kind of sort of quantize them a little bit. So I'm going to tap the quantize sort of lock on. If I press and hold this now, so number 2, you see now length and beat are lit to say that they're already on now. If I go through to number 4, which I haven't turned it on for, I've got none of those things on there. But let's keep on number 2. And now I'll just make some changes here. And these are now in time. I can also put it onto a step so it won't sort of slew through to the values, it'll just turn on the switches. So now let's maybe do a bit of kind of here's something I forgot to mention. Yeah. Rather than do that with a gesture here, so let's just clear that. I'm going to use the LFO to control these bits here. So I'm going to map the LFO to timbre. You can hear that. I'm also going to map it to tone. Now at the minute we've just got kind of one LFO, but we've actually got 5 LFOs, and if I just spin around with this, speed that up, and so now as I kind of spin through, you kind of get the LFO, individual LFOs into different positions. Now maybe I want to record the gesture for this. There we go. We're just still on the wave control here. Let's switch to FM. bring that down to a saw. Now the great thing with the length here, which is controlling the kind of the articulations here, this is also a multiplier of the clock, which is quite nice because I can have this kind of nice sort of musical motif going on and then just sort of change it completely but keep the same musical content in there. And again, I can kind of record that, so put it onto this one here. If you remember, I mentioned about this middle note here. This is referring to the contour here. Now again, this is a new thing on here, and this can make it go insane. So I'm going to press map and take the contour, and I'm going to map it to the tap. It's got a tap tempo control there. And you'll see now the clock is going all over the place. Because basically that is acting as a tap tempo switch. Tap here. So that's just gone insane. Let's bring the length down. And the tempo down. So now we're getting into some really kind of crazy places. Now, of course, if you remember, the LFO, the length, and the time control here are all connected to the tempo. So just changing one of those will have a really nice interaction with all the other stuff. It's just gone into a totally brand new world. Yeah. Right, I'm going to switch on to the form voice. That length to kind of fire it back up again. So yeah. Lovely stuff. That's really nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the contour here. So, sorry, map, contour, mute. Now I think the clock has it stopped? I'm not sure if it's fully stopped. You can get to some really low BPM with this. In fact, if you go all the way down here, you can stop it. Yeah. So we've got into a really kind of new sort of musical territory, I guess, with this. Love it. Absolutely love it. It just takes you to totally new places and you just get lost. I mean, I've just been noodling on this for an hour now. Yeah. So I think I'm probably going to finish up now. As I say, I just thought I'd do a little impromptu live stream and just get out something that's been on my desk. I mean, basically, let's see, if I switch to this, it just lives here constantly. Oh, and actually, I should say on the Discord, there's some amazing folks on the Discord. Some guy really generously shared a link lid design, an STL file I think it was for the lid, and yeah, it was just, I love it. So now I've got it protected. I got this printed from a 3D printer firm that I sometimes use. So yeah, got my own little kind of cover for it, which I'm really pleased with. So yeah, I'm probably gonna finish up, and yeah. Maybe I'll just shut up and maybe just do another 5 minutes worth of music. So yeah, I'll keep myself quiet now. But I hope that was interesting anyway. I don't, yeah, as I say, don't generally do kind of live streams on a sort of on a personal kind of level like this. But I was just had a bit of time, and I just love the atrium so much. I thought, oh yeah, why not spread the good word? So yeah, so I'm going to sign off. Switch back to the top-down shot. I'm just going to make a couple of bits of music, see what happens, and hopefully something good can come out of it. Let's see. All right. Well, listen. Wherever you are, thanks very much for if you spent time. I see there's a good few folks in the chat actually. Real Podgy, Drody June, and Peter Coity as well. Good to see you, Pete. Yeah, Pete runs the Coastal Electronauts thing, and I got this atrium about 2 days before I had a gig over at Coastal Electronauts. I thought, should I do it? And I did it, and basically, I mean, it took up half the set that I played, I think, because it was just like, okay, let's go for it. And, you know, even after a couple of days, I just felt really comfortable with it, really enjoyed it. So, yeah. Anyway, Whimsical Raps Atrium. I can't sort of sing its praises high enough. Trent Gill, Danny Dirks, the folks over at Whimsical Raps, amazing people. And Trent, to be honest with you, I perhaps shouldn't say this out loud, but to be honest with you, I think he's an absolute genius, this guy. He's responsible for some of my favourite modules. I'm not a big modular guy, but the Just Friends module is one of my favourite synths of all time. Atrium has fast become one of my favourite things of all time as well. So, yeah. So he's responsible for 2 of those. Yeah, love the stuff that's got his fingerprint on. So anyway, right, I'm going to mute my microphone, stop talking, and yeah, I'll start again from scratch and make something, see what happens. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Catch you in a bit.